Hello there. This is the Compound of Alchemy, written by Sir George Ripley, a canon of Bridlington. This is a continuation of an attempted experiment. Reading of a book, publicly, that doesn't already exist as an audiobook, having checked LibriVox and Audible. These come from Theatrum Chemicum Britannicum, a compilation and annotated work by Elias Ashmole in 1652. It gathered older Middle English alchemical works that were shared from private collections to Mr. Ashmole. Theatrum Chemicum Britannicum is a significant alchemical work, for it being in the English language during a time in England when all seasoned alchemists in the world, in England and the world at large, were studying alchemy for their own better or worse in Latin. Elias Ashmole writes in the prologue of the Theatrum Chemicum Britannicum that many English philosophers preferred reading and composing alchemy works in Latin as a clear case of elitism. This was criticized and an open invitation to bring to the English language more commitment in authoring of complex thought that runs through the hidden culture of alchemy. Such an open invitation was brought by Ashmole in that prologue, which has also been read and recorded and uploaded to YouTube here. This is the Compound of Alchemy, written by Sir George Ripley, a canon of Bridlington. He was the alchemy master/teacher of Thomas Norton. Thomas Norton later wrote the Ordinal of Alchemy, or Creed Mihi, and published in 1477, that which I've previously recorded and uploaded to YouTube. The Ordinal of Alchemy begins with a plate that was included in Carl Jung's Psychology and Alchemy, which is originally how I discovered the existence of Theatrum Chemicum Britannicum. I'm digging deeper into the sources of Carl Jung, and so here continues the Theatrum content, the Compound of Alchemy. I wanted to see if I could support a single voice, a character voice, for as long as it takes to read this. Now, I've read through the entire Compound of Alchemy in this voice, although that sort of investment originally seemed too much. It has taken a few months to record an entire book, but I have revisited the content so often, it is all much easier now, to the point where I've considered reading returning to and continuing to read Dante's Divine Comedy, as well as an experiment also recorded and uploaded to this channel of reading Goethe's Faust Part 1 in unique character voices. Still, this is just an experiment, like most things. I hope this is enjoyable, and maybe some valuable hidden golden bits can be discovered by a listener. Many thanks for listening.
Of Solution, the Second Gate. Of solution now will I speak a word or two, which showeth out that error was hid from sight, and maketh intentuate things that were thick also. By the virtue of our first menstrue clear and bright, in which our bodies eclipsed been to sight, and of their hard and dry compaction subtilate into their own first nature kindly retrogradate. One in gender they be, and in number not so, whose father the sun, the moon truly is mother. The mean is Mercury, these two and no more, be our Magnesia, our Adrop, and none other. Things there be, but only sister and brother, that is to ween, agent and patient, sulphur and mercury coessential to our intent. Betwixt these two in quality contrarios, engendered is a mean most marvellously, which is our mercury and menstrue unctuous, our secret sulphur working invisibly, more fiercely than fire burning the body, into water dissolving the body mineral, which night from darkness in the north part we call. But yet I trow thou understand not utterly the very secret of philosophers' dissolution. Therefore conceive me, I counsel thee wittily. For I will tell thee truly, without delusion. Our solution is cause of our congelation, for the dissolution on the one side corporal causeth congelation on the other side spiritual. And we dissolve into water which waiteth no hand. For when the earth is integrally incinerate, then is the water congealed, this understand. For the elements be so concatenate, that when the body for his first form is alternate, a new form is induced immediately. For nothing being without all form is utterly. And here a secret to thee I will disclose, which is the ground of our secrets all. And if thou it not know, thou shalt but lose thy labour and costs both great and small. Take heed, therefore, in error that thou not fall. The more thine earth, and the less thy water be, the rather and better solution shall thou see. Behold how ice to water doth relent, and so it must. But water it was before, right so again to water our earth is bent, and water thereby congealed for evermore. For after philosophers, which ever was bore, every metal was once water mineral. Therefore with water they turn to water all. In which water of kind occasionate of qualities being repugnant and diversity. Things unto things must therefore be rotate, until diversity be brought to perfect unity. For Scripture recordeth, when the earth shall be troubled, and into the deep sea shall be cast, mountains, our bodies likewise at the last. Our bodies be likened conveniently to mountains, which after high planets we name. Into the deepness, therefore, of Mercury, turn them and keep thee out of blame. Then shall ye see a noble game, how all shall become powder, soft as silk. So doth our runet by kind curd our milk. Then hath our bodies their first form lost, and other be induced immediately. Then hast thou well beset thy cost. Whereas some other uncunning must go by, not knowing the secrets of our philosophy. Yet one point I more must tell thee, every body how it hath dimensions three, altitude, latitude, and profundity, by which algates turn we must our wheel, knowing thy entrance in the west shall be thy passage forth, into the north if thou do well, and there thy lights lose, their light each dale, for there thou must abide by 90 night, in darkness of purgatory withouten light. Then take thy course up to the east and on, by colours passing variable in manifold wise, and then be winter and very nigh overgone to the east. Therefore thine ascending devise, for there the sun with daylight doth uprise in summer, and there disport thee with delight, for there thy work shall become perfect white. Forth from the east into the south ascend, and set thou up therein thy chair of fire, for there is harvest, that is to say, an end of all this work after thine own desire. There shineth the sun up in his own sphere, and after the eclipse is in redness with glory, as king to reign upon all metals and mercury. And in one glass must be done all this thing, like to an egg in shape, and closed well. Then must you know the measure of firing, the which, unknown thy works, is lost each deal. Let never thy glass be hotter than thou may feel, and suffer still in thy bare hand to hold, for dread of losing, as philosophers have thee told. Yet to my doctrine furthermore intend, beware thy glass thou never open ne move, for thy beginning, till thou have made an end. If thou do contrary, thy work may never achieve. Thus, in this chapter, which is so brief, I have thee taught thy true solution. Now to the third gate go, for this is won. Of separation, the third gate. Separation doth each part from other divide, the subtle from the gross, from the thick the thin. But separation manual look thou put aside, for that pertaineth to foils, which little good unwin. But in our separation nature doth not blame, making division of qualities elemental into the 5th degree, till they be turned all. Earth is turned into water black and blue,
and water after into air under very white.
Air is turned into fire elements, there be no more. Of this is made by craft our stone of great delight. But of this separation much more must we write, and separation is called by philosophers' definition of the said elements tetraptative dispersion. And of this separation I find a like figure spoken by the prophet in the psalmody. God brought out of a stone a fluid of water pure, and of the hardest stone oil abundantly. Right so of our precious stone, if thou be witty, oil incombustible, and water thou shalt draw, and thereabout thou needest not at the coals to blow. Do this with heat, easy and measuring, first with moist fire, and after with the dry. The phlegm by patience outdrawing, and after that thy other natures wittily. Dry up thine earth till it be thirsty. By calcining else thou labourest all in vain, and then make it drink up his moisture again. Separation thus must thou oft times make, thy matter dividing into parts too, so that the simple from the gross thou take, till earth remain beneath in colour blue. That earth is fixed for to abide all woe. The other part is spiritual and fleeing, but thou must turn them all into one thing. Then oil and water with water shall distill, and through her help receive moving. Keep well this too, that thou not spill thy work for lack of due closing. Make thy stopple of glass melting, the top of thy vessel together with it. Then philosopher-like used is it. The water wherewith thou must renew thy stone, look thou distill afore thou work with it, oftentimes by itself alone, and by thy sight thou shalt well wit, from feculent feces, when it is quit. For some men can with Saturn it multiply, and other substance which we defy. Distill it therefore till it be clean, and thin like water as it should be, as heaven in colour bright and shine, keeping both figure and ponderosity. Therewith did Hermes moisture his tree. Within his glass he made to grow upright, with flowers discolored, beauteously to sight. Thus water is like to the venomous tire, wherewith the mighty tricle is wrought. For it is poison most strong of ire, a stronger poison cannot be thought. At the apothecaries therefore often it is bought, but no man shall be by it intoxicated, after the time it is into medicine elevate. For then, as is the triacle true, it is of poisons most expulsive, and in his working doth marvels show, persevering many from death to life. Look thou meng it with no corrosive, but choose it pure and quick renning, if thou thereby wilt have winning. It is a marvellous thing in kind, and without it may none be done. Therefore Hermes called it his wind, for it is up-flying for sun and moon, and maketh our stone fly with its sun, reviving the dead and giving life to sun and moon, husband and wife. Which, if they were not by craft made quick, and their fatness with water drawn out, and so the thin dissevered from the thick, thou should never bring this work about. If thou wilt speed, therefore, without doubt, raise up thy birds out of their nest, and after again bring them down to rest. Water with water accord will and ascend, and spirit with spirit, for they be of kind, which after they be exalted make to descend, and so thou shalt divide that nature before did bind, mercury essential turning into wind, without which nature and subtle separation may never be complete, profitable generation. Now to help thee in at this gate, the last secret I will tell to thee. Thy water must be 7 times sublimate, else shall no kindly dissolution be, nor putrefying shalt thou none see, like liquid pitch, nor colours appearing, for lack of fire within thy glass working. 4 fires there be which you must understand, natural, innatural, against nature, also elemental, which doth brand the brand. These 4 fires use we, and no more. Fire against nature must do thy body's woe. That is our dragon, as I thee tell, fiercely burning as fire of hell. Fire of nature is the 3rd menstrual. That fires naturally in everything. But fire occasionate we call innatural, and heat of ascus and baldness for putrefying. Without these fires thou may not bring to putrefaction, for to be separate, thy matters together proportionate. Therefore make fire thy glass within, which brenneth the bodies more than fire elemental. If thou wilt win our secret according to thy desire, then shall thy seeds both root and spire, by help of fire occasionate, that kindly after they may be separate. Of separation the gate must thus be won, that furthermore yet thou may proceed toward the gate of secret conjunction, into the castle which will thee inner lead. Do after my counsel, therefore, if thou wilt speed. With 2 strong locks this gate is shut, as consequently now thou shalt wit. The end of the 3rd gate. Of conjunction, the 4th gate. After the chapter of natural separation, by which the elements of our stone dissevered be, the chapter here followeth of secret conjunction, which natures repugnant joineth to perfect unity, and so them knitteth, that none from other may flee. When they by fire shall be examinate, so be they together surely conjugate. And therefore philosophers giveth this definition, saying thus conjunction is naught else, but of dissevered qualities a copulation, or of principles a coequation, as other tells. But some with mercury, which the apothecary sells, meddleth bodies, which cannot divide their matter, and therefore they step aside. For unto time the soul be separate, and cleansed from his original sin, with the water and purely spiritualized, thy true conjunction may thou never begin. Therefore the soul first for the body twin, then of the corporal part and of the spiritual, the soul conjunction shall cause perpetual. Of two conjunctions philosophers done mention make, gross when the body with mercury is reincendate. But let it pass, and to the second tent thou take, which, as I said, is after separation celebrate, in which the parties be lest so colligate, and so promoted unto most perfect temperance, then never after may be among them repugnance. Thus causeth separation true conjunction to be had, of water, air, earth, and fire, but that every element may into other be led, and so abide for ever to thy desire. Do as done labourers with clay and mire, temper them thick, and make them not too thin. For so to updrying thou shalt the rather win. But manners there be of this conjunction three. The first is called by philosophers diptative, betwixt the agent and the patient, which must be male and female, mercury and sulphur vive. Matter and form, thin and thick to thrive. This lesson will help thee, without any doubt, our conjunction truly to bring about. The second manner is called triptative, which is conjunction made of things three, of body, soul, and spirit, till they not strive, which trinity must be brought to perfect unity. For as the soul to the spirit, the bond must be, right to the body the soul to him must knit. Out of thy mind let not this lesson flit. The third manner, and also the last of all, four elements together, which joineth to abide, tetraptative certainly philosophers doth it call, and specially Guido de Montaigne, whose fame goeth wide. And therefore the most laudable manner, this tied in our conjunction, for elements must be aggregate in due proportion first, which asunder were separate. Therefore, like as the woman hath veins 15, the man but 5, to the act of her fecundity require in our conjunction first, I mean, so must the man our son have of his water 3, and 9 his wife, which 3 to him must be. Then like which like will joy have for to dwell. More of conjunction me needeth not to tell. This chapter I will conclude right soon, therefore, gross conjunction charging thee to make but one. For seldom have strumpets children, of them I bore, and so thou shalt never come by our stone, without thou suffer the woman to lig alone, that after she hath conceived of the man, the matrice of her be shut from all other than. For such as addeth evermore crude to crude, opening their vessels and letting their matter kill, their sperm conceived, they nourish not, but delude themselves, and spilleth their work every deal. If thou therefore list for to do well, close up the matrix, and nurse the seed, with heat continual, and temperate, if thou wilt speed. And when thy vessel hath stand by months 5, and clouds and eclipses be past each one, that light appearing increase, thy heat then believe, till bright and shining in whiteness be thy stone, then may thou open thy glass anon, and feed thy child which is then ybore, with milk and meat, aye more and more. For now both moist and dry be so contemperate, that of the water earth hath received impression, which never asunder after that may be separate, and right so water to earth hath given ingression. For now both moist and dry be so contemperate, that of the water earth hath received impression, which never asunder after that may be separate, and right so water to earth hath given ingression, that both together to dwell hath made profession, and water of earth hath purchased retentive. They four be made one, never more to strive. And in 2 things all our intent doth hinge, in dry and moist, which be contrarious to. In dry, that it the moist to fixing bring, in moist, that it give liquefaction the earth unto, that of them thus contemperate may forth go, a temperate. And in 2 things all our intent doth hinge, in dry and moist, which be contrarious to. In dry, that it the moist to fixing bring, in moist, that it give liquefaction the earth unto, that of them thus contemperate may forth go, a temperament not so thick as the body is, neither so thin as water without miss. Losing and netting therefore be principles 2 of this hard science, and poles most principal. Howbeit that other principles be many more, as shining funnels which show I shall. Proceed therefore unto another wall of this strong castle of our wisdom, that inner at the 5th gate thou may come.